Welcome, Health Warriors. We have a special guest on the line today to talk about Shilajit and our new Shilajit Elixirs. Mr. John Matuz, he's the host of the Better Man Show, and he's actually been a friend of mine for like 40 plus years. Welcome to the show, John.
Hey, thanks, Al. Thanks for having me back on. How you doing?
Very, very good. How are you doing?
Oh, great. Like I said, man, that elixir stuff has made it so much easier for me to use your product. It's much easier than the paste. I mean, I still use the paste because I've got it, and I kind of like watching it dissolve in my tea in the morning. But that elixir, man, just makes it so much easier.
Yeah, and it works the same, right? They're it's the same thing.
Yeah, and it's weird because I always talk about, you and I have worked on and off together, through our lives, right? And whenever I start working out with you again, I always feel like I'm dealing with some kind of a warlock or some kind of witchcraft thing because your stuff works. I mean, not just your training programs, but also the supplements and everything else you use. And I feel like I said, it's kind of like witchcraft because whenever I get on your program, I get down to the weight and the shape I want to be, but I also don't have any pains or aches or anything associated with, all the kind of activities I'm involved in. I just told you, I just finished a boxing deal. I went 3 rounds boxing and 3 rounds cardio, which, is not that big of a deal, except when you're our age, right? And I just took a shower. I came on, my elbows don't hurt, shoulders don't hurt, hands are fine. I'm great. I have zero pain at all. And, it's weird how well all of your products work, but man, since I've been taking that Shilajit for like the last 4 months, I can really tell a difference.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. Yeah. And like you are like one of the longest users, basically, like sort of on and off, but one of the longest users of the Shilajit, even like back to when your grandpa was using it too, right?
Yeah, man. So when we started using it way back then, it came like in this powder form.
Yeah.
And so I started giving it to my grandpa. You and I both know my grandpa, right? He was like 92-year-old badass, right? Guy
Yep.
worked out every day. He'd probably still be alive now if he didn't crash on his bike, right? But he used to just say, man, John, give me some more of that dirt because he loved it. And he worked out at the gym every day, rode his bike. He was the guy that would unload the cheese truck for, people that needed help. Every week he would unload a trailer full of cheese, in his 90s. And he said the same thing. It's like, man, all that stuff that I get from Al, but man, that dirt is the key. So he did the dirt, he did the goji berries, he did your CBD stuff. And yeah, man, like I said, that guy'd still be alive if he didn't crash on his bike.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, he was amazing, and it was so cool to see like people like in his genre or his age range, like when they get that stuff, they come alive and it like they understand what it is for some reason because they've had that before, like way back when. Because that kind of stuff isn't available, on the open market today.
Yeah, that guy was born in 1913 on a farm, in South Dakota. They didn't have doctors, they didn't have any of that stuff, right? They ate well, they did good things. And then, when he retired, he became a beekeeper. Remember, we used to always get his honey and
Yep.
he took royal jelly and all that stuff. And he was like one of the original, I don't want to say truthers, but he was like one of the original guys that knew, nutrition comes from food. It comes from exercise. It doesn't come from medicine, right? Or synthetic medicines. And your medicine is your food. And he just lived that, and he was that kind of guy.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so like so he used that and had such great success and everything. And you've used like pretty much everything. You've used the powder, you've used the paste or the resin, and you've used the elixir, and so how do you and you recently did the resin during the 21-day reset and then switched to the elixir. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I kind of like, the whole ritual of the resin, watching it dissolve in my tea, when I have time to do that, that was kind of cool. But, I'm a kind of a busy guy. So, man, if I can just get a couple of drops in my water, slam it down and get out of the house and get to work, right? So much easier, so much better. You can measure it a little bit better, because, when you're digging it out of that paste thing, you never know if you're going to get a big chunk or a little chunk that day. And really, the doses aren't as clear cut as with the drops. So yeah, the drops makes life so much easier.
Yeah. Especially for the busy people, like the busy moms, the executives, like that just are like grinding, like from the time you wake up, So it's really awesome for people like that. Even I enjoy it. I'm sort of spoiled now. I actually ran out the other day and I had, I have a ton of the resin, and I waited until my next bottles came in. I didn't do it for like 3 days because I was just too lazy to watch it dissolve. I was too busy,
Yeah, yeah. We had this lady that comes and cleans our house every couple of weeks, and man, she hides stuff from me, and so I couldn't find the elixir, and so I had to use the paste, and man, I had to use a pair of pliers to get the lid off, and then I lost the lid. I mean, it's there's just too much going on, right? Then you got to find the little scoopy thing. Yeah, when you got the elixir and the droppers, that's definitely the way to go.
Yeah, 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 yeah. When you have to have like special tools and everything to pull the resin out, it's so awesome that it's worth it, But like, now that this thing's created that elixir, it just like it's a no brainer, like just because it's literally the same exact thing, the same quality, purity, potency, but in a dropper, so you know exactly how much you're doing, and it's just squirt and drink.
Yeah, and if you got that paste, man, I mean, like you said, it's great. So don't throw it away if you got it because it's good stuff, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're both awesome, and it's so super cool. I was just talking to the guys earlier today from the Himalayas, and they like they're super happy with me because I'm like their biggest purchaser, and like they're literally like harvesting stuff. They sent me some pictures of like the way they harvest, and like they're hanging like off of these ropes, swinging off these like the sides of these mountains and all this crazy shit. Like it's nuts. I thought it was like more flat land that they harvested, but no, they're off like they're literally there's two guys up top holding these ropes, and this guy's swinging like with a sack, pulling this stuff off, but then they take it over, and he sent me pictures of their facility, and it's so I have it on the website. It's so super pristine, like 2 ISO certifications, good manufacturing practices certifications, all this crazy stuff I've never seen in like 20 plus years of working with Shilajit. I've never seen like a facility so pristine. It's so super awesome, and it just makes you feel good. Knowing that quality is coming to us.
Yeah,
It's,
and,
it's
and
so
anything
cool.
that comes from you, man, is high quality. Because I mean, you are the most, uh, you are the best tester I've ever seen in my life on anything. I mean, not just on your supplements and everything else, but I mean on your headphones and your microphone. And when we first started my show, I mean, I didn't even have to look for anything. I just said, "Yeah, what do I get?" Because I know that you know everything about everything in the world. And I like the whole story about Sheila Jeet and where it comes from and the history and that people have been taking it for all these centuries and all that stuff I love that kind of history. I love that kind of stuff. And the fact that you're dealing with someone that cares about it as much as you do is, everyone that buys from you should know that they're getting the best. I mean, there's nothing better out there than what they can get through you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's super awesome. I care because like I care what I put in my body, and I take what's off the shelves. And that's what's so cool about those guys in the Himalayas. It's a family run business, generational, and they're pretty much just like me. Like they care about that product. It's part of almost like part of their religion.
Yeah.
And they live in the Himalayas. And there is no brokers, no middlemen, and like I'm so grateful I found them. But yeah, like he like treats his stuff like it's like it's what it is. It's precious, and it gives that life force energy. Yeah, and so yeah, I sort of feel like my life is more complete now that I have that.
Yeah, man, those guys are like you. Their certifications mean more to them than any money that they would make from this product. Because to get certified at that level, it's taken generations to get there. So that, I mean, the whole family is counting on them to keep that going. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, because not many people know that, but like you don't own like your area that you harvest from. You're granted the right to be there by this czar basically, and like they're at the highest elevation possible, like the 18,000 foot plus elevation. Like there are no roads, there are no electricity, there's nothing. Like it's like as close to God as you can get. It's the highest
Right.
mountains in the world. It's it's
Yeah.
it's it's uh, it's amazing, and they sent me pictures of that, like some video of just like them like climbing up to the thing, and how it looks like fake, like it's so beautiful.
That's awesome. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's where our stuff comes from, and they harvest it fresh. I have to order it months in advance because they'll harvest it after I order it, and then they
Right.
go through then they purify it with moringa seeds, and water, no chemicals, no heat, and it takes it's like a 40 to 60 day process.
Wow.
It's just so like I said, it's like a religion. It's so awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no question that it works too. I mean, talking about my grandfather, right? I mean, that guy, he was pretty healthy, but that turned him into a workout machine. I mean, he was in the gym every day
Yeah.
after he started doing that. I mean, he was like goji berries and Shilajit, and that's what he basically lived on, and bacon, right? Bacon and coffee.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's what kept him going.
Yep, yep, yeah, and he wasn't. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember, when he started taking that, and he started like he's going to the gym, and he was super active. Like he could think clearly, like everything.
It even helped with his vision because he was having trouble reading because that guy read the encyclopedia from A to Z like twice, like two editions, in his lifetime, and he just loved to read. But his eyes started going bad. But when we got him on all your program with all your stuff, it turned him into he was a pretty healthy guy for 90 years old, but it turned him into he was like a 60-year-old. I mean, really, he was
Yeah,
always in his backyard doing stuff, digging holes and cutting down trees, and he was just a super active guy after you got him on the program.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was so awesome to see. I loved that. And, I always loved going over there with you to visit them.
Yeah, he
It
was
was so
always up to
much
something. Remember, he had his
fun.
bees, and then he was raising worms for people to fish with, and I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. I
he
remember
always
the
had
worm
stuff going
farm.
on. Yeah.
That was awesome. But yeah, it's so super cool that that you've been around that long. Because that was more of the early 2000s. And I've been working with Sheila Jeet for over 20 years, and to have someone that's been on the ride and all the various different variations of it that I've had, and now enjoy the elixir, like that's just super awesome for me to have somebody around like you.
Yeah, so somebody needs to do a documentary of your quest through all of your supplements and all the testing that you did on yourself, and that's why I like that your CBD for the animals, where it says safe for animals, tested on humans, because everything's been tested on you. You're like the test animal, and I've seen you go through hell, with all the different changes and stuff that you've done. But man, because of you, all these people are benefiting from all your stuff. So that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for that, John. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, and thank you for coming on the show. And sharing your story and sharing all that info about your grandfather and everything. Really appreciate it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, it's
Awesome.
working for me too, man. I mean, like I said, we started training again, I don't know, about 4 months ago, maybe 5 months ago. And I'm like my grandpa, I'm not the 58-year-old guy anymore. I feel like I'm 38 again. So, and it's all because of you. And then, also Coach Michelle, but all the supplements that you've given me have just, really have changed my life. Like that was that was the point of my show was to change my life and become the better man. And, working with you has set that foundation for sure. I'm just building on top of that. So thank you so much.
That's awesome, John. Very, very, very good. Seems like a good way to close out the show. So thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So that concludes this show, and be sure to subscribe and like. And thank you. We'll see you again.